Good morning, everybody. Sorry, I'm not, how can I say, all together yet today. I'm still half asleep. Uh, my sleeping tablet's still holding me tightly as I took it a little bit late last night. Reason why I'm not wearing my cap today is because it's really dark here in this corner here, as it is a nice overcast day. And it's 16 degrees today. So, yeah. So, I'm going to make this not as dragged out as some of you may think. Because I took my tablet a little bit late last night. So yeah, still feeling it now. Okay. So once again, I'm not with AA, NACA, any of the factions or sister groups or whatever you want to call it. I do this for me, for myself, and hopefully for that one still suffering addict that may get something from this. It's a beautiful morning. I am going to do this reading. Then I'm going to go and climb back into bed as I don't have anything to do for today. So I can get rid of the sleeping tablet. Right. First of all, thought for the day. Short, sweet, to the point. It says, to thy own self be true. Think about it. Hey, especially for us addicts. To thy own self be true. It means a lot. Okay. Sorry, it feels like I got sand in my eyes. Eh? Ugh. Old man Jack jumped on my bed this morning, was giving me kisses and got a clap instead. In my dream it was flies in my face. So shit, shit. Next one, bah! And I opened my eyes because I hit something solid. I was like, oh, Jack, sorry, man. Okay, so the October 26th, the path to self-acceptance. Right. The most effective means to achieve self-acceptance is through applying the 12 steps of recovery. I told you quite a few times so far that, I may not be a part of the AA or NAs that, but the literature is very good. And as well as, getting your hands on the green and gold 12-step program. So it literally spells out the entire 12 steps for you and how to do it. That is a very good thing to do, as well as finding out learning self-acceptance. Our addiction has been a source of shame to many. Let me read that again. Our addiction has been a source of shame to many of us. We have hidden ourselves from others, sure that if anyone got to know who we really were, they would reject us. And it helps us learn self-acceptance. I've spoken about, addicts in recovery, where they say they don't, how can they introduce themselves, when they're going for a job interview or something like that, where they say, hi, my name is Des, and I'm a, addict in recovery. And for me it's quite easy. I've been in it for a while now, so self-acceptance of who I am to who I was it's now ingrained in me. Okay, and I speak freely about my past. I speak freely about who I am today. So this is something every recovering addict needs to learn. That's where I tell them normally. I normally say, for example, myself. I wasn't ashamed when I was robbing people, taking their prized possessions. So why must I be ashamed going into recovery and saying, my name is Des, and I'm an addict in recovery? Note, I say addict in recovery. Most people say, hi, my name is John, and I'm a recovered addict. I was like, no, you're not. All right. So self-acceptance, guys, is accepting where you've been to where you are now. Okay, you got to learn the self-acceptance. Accept who you are, to who you were. If you cannot accept, who you are today compared to who you were, you're not going to be able to move forward. You need to learn to self-accept. And this all comes to, I think this plays a big role in Bucky sounds like it's falling apart. Anyway, when you start making amends in your 12 steps, okay, I think self-acceptance plays a big role in that. Learning to seek forgiveness for what you've done wrong. You need to, in order first, accept what you did wrong before you can seek acceptance or forgiveness. Not acceptance, forgiveness. Right. Many of us find a great deal of relief just from attending meetings, hearing fellow addicts share their stories, and discovering that others have felt the same way we feel about ourselves. When I first came into recovery, I think, yes, I don't want to lie, but there was a good couple of meetings down the line. And in the one meeting, I was sitting there, up until that point, I hadn't shared or anything in any meetings. I just went to listen, And I was sitting listening, and this guy stood up, and this guy shared a bit of his story and a bit of himself. And when he sat down, I was looking at him, and I was literally in tears. Literally in tears. Mouth open, staring at him, and I was just sobbing. And I stood up and I thanked him. In front of the whole group, I just thanked him. I said to him, I struggled to share. I've struggled to self-accept me. Thinking that nobody else has the same problems as me, but you have just proven to me now that I'm not alone. And that's what this program is about, people. You're not alone. Learn to self-accept and share. Right. So there we go. Feel about ourselves. Anyway, let's move. When others share honestly with us who they are, we feel free to do the same. As we learn to tell others the truth about ourselves, we learn to accept ourselves. Learning to, when you're speaking to people, to actually tell them the truth about you and not the made up version about you. It's much easier to start accepting yourself. Self-disclosure, however, is only the beginning. Once we've shared the things that make us uncomfortable with our lives, we need to find a different way to live. And what way is that? For me, let me speak for myself here, finding a different way to live was living a sober life, a complete sober life. I gave up everything because everything was a trigger for me, and I mean gambling, music, sex, everything. Learning to live a different life, or a different way of life. I left everything to walk a sober life, a free life of being controlled by you've heard me say this before, being controlled by the demon that is addiction. Right. And that's where the steps come in. We develop to concept, we did, we develop a concept of a higher power. We inventory our lives in detail and discuss our inventory with other sponsors, with our sponsor. We ask the God of our understanding to remove our character defects, the shortcomings that are the source of our troubles. Our character defects are the shortcomings of our defaults. Easily manipulated. You're a people pleaser. Learn to say no. Okay, that's just one example. Shortcomings and the source of our troubles. We take responsibility for the things we've done and make amends for them. Now remember, when you make amends, as it says, where possible. Okay, if you've hurt somebody just way too much that you know that if they see you, or if you try to make amends, it's going to make things worse, don't. If you think just writing a letter to them and mailing them a letter will be the best part, do it. Other than that, most of your amends and that should be done face to face. But if you know it's going to cause more problems than it should, well then good, then don't. Send a letter. And if you think the letter is also going to cause a problem, speak to your sponsor and see if they agree. Don't send anything. Right, think about it. We take responsibility for things we've done and make amends for them. And we incorporate all these disciplines into our daily lives. Okay, what did it say there? Finding a different way to live. Finding a different way to live. We incorporate all these disciplines into our daily lives, practicing these principles in all our affairs. As I mentioned before, as an addictions counselor, you need to learn to practice what you preach. The same thing as if you're in recovery and you've got some time behind your belt. You're an example. Lead by example. Okay, practice these principles in all our affairs. So the way that you are at your groups, your group meetings, or amongst other recovering addicts, is the same way you should be at home, at a friend's, at a braai. You should not, because that's who we were in addiction. We were this way, then when we met somebody else, we were that way. Now in recovery, you must be that way. In front of Tommy, Pity, Susie, Alas, everyone. Okay, like that. By working the steps, we can become the people we are proud to be. Not one of you can say that in addiction you are proud of yourself. Please, don't lie. In addiction, I was disgusted by who I was, scared about who I was, angry about who I was. A lot of you can contest to that. Alright, so in the steps we become people we are proud to be. Because once you start sobering up and your mind starts thinking clearer, you're going to start thinking differently, acting differently, speaking differently. You start becoming the person who you lost back then when you started your nonsense. Because I always tell people that in addiction, let's speak to myself now in the third person. Desmond, when you started addiction, you lost who Desmond was. Now in recovery, you're going to find who Desmond is and was. Who are you, Desmond? What do you like, Desmond? What kind of a person are you, Desmond? All these questions, your 12 steps, in your steps, you learn, you find out, you accept. Right, we can freely tell the truth about ourselves, for we have nothing to hide. The blessing of recovery. We've got nothing to hide. We can freely tell the truth about ourselves. Just for today, I will walk the path to self-acceptance. I will show up, tell the truth, and work the steps. I will show up, tell the truth, accept the steps. Do it. You won't believe the difference it starts making when you start becoming sober. And you now got a couple of weeks, couple of months under your belt. And now you're starting to try and practice what you're learning. Okay? Self-accepting who you are. Okay, Desmond, I'm a recovering drug addict. I'm an ex-junkie. I'm an ex-hobo. In Afrikaans, we have a lovely saying, I was an ex-gomgat. Directly translated, glue ass. I don't actually think there's a way to explain it in English, but anyway. But once you start walking the sober line, and you start actually forcing yourself, because in the beginning it's hard to force yourself to tell a complete stranger who you are and where you come from. It's like, hi, how's it? I'm Des, eh? I like it, Des. Yeah, you wanna catch a quick dop? Hey, sorry, man, I'm a recovering addict, eh? Oh, cool. A lot of people are scared about the response they're going to get from the people that they tell that they are a recovering addict. 8 out of 10 times you're going to get people that are generally okay with it. For example, my brother's wedding, one of his ex-rugby mates, was there. Me and this guy, when we used to get together, we used to drink a lot. We used to put them back and then cause cock. At my brother's wedding, he was like, "Shit, is that you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, hey, bro, what's up?" And he's like, "I can't even buy you a dope." Nah, sweet, bro. Lemon and lime water. So he goes, "What? When did you stop drinking?" So I tell him, "No, it's been a couple of years." So he goes, "Good for you. Good for you." Some people, yes, you're going to get that odd one that is a complete and utter idiot. Okay? And I've told this to many people. In that situation, when you're feeling uncomfortable at the function or whatever, and you're either feeling uncomfortable about the situation or you're feeling uncomfortable about the person that's there, you have the right to stand up and say, you don't even have to say goodbye. Seriously, I mean, that's just going to cause more trouble. You have the right to stand up and other direction. And when your manager phones you, you explain to your manager, it's because of so and so, or just because of the situation, and I'm fresh in recovery, and I was feeling very uncomfortable. Oh, okay. Why don't you tell us? Companies nowadays are more inclined to accept you as a recovering addict than to find out at a function when you relapse and lose your head and go crazy. And then they realize, oh, but you have a problem. When you started working here, why didn't you tell us your problem? Think about it, people. Think about it. Honesty is the way to go. And as it says in the Bible, truth will set you free. Got it? And I can also contest to that. Sitting in Krugersdorp prison. Yeah? Finally accepted that I shouldn't fight my case. I should just accept it. And just accept that, yes, it was me, instead of trying to get out of it backhanded ways, which wasn't going to work. I was sitting in my cell, and it was visit day. I was sitting in my cell. I know I'm not getting a visit because nobody knows I'm here. Whenever I used to get arrested or trouble, it was my trouble. I never used to phone anyone. Hey, help me out, man. I'm in trouble. I was like, no. So your shit. But anyway, long story short. Somehow, my people found out where I was, and my aunt was visiting. And I said to her, nah. She asked me how's it going. I said, yeah. How do you think it's going? And I said, but the difference is that Monday's court. I said, Monday court, I'm going to plead guilty. I'm tired of this. I think it's just time now to stop fighting it and just accept my fate. Accept my fate. My fate. She was like, okay. So now little did I know, her and my old man were in codes, you know. So Monday morning, we left for court, back all in the truck, sardines off to court. We get to court, sitting in the cage underneath the cells, underneath the courtroom. I was sitting there, just thinking of, my future from this point on. And this sort of lawyer coming in and called me up and he said to me, right, I hear that you want to plead guilty to your case. I said, yes. I said, yes, I do. He says, right. He gives me a pen and paper and he said to me, write everything down. Give us your statement. Everything. So I wrote everything down from point A to point B. The actual case itself is it's not applicable. Okay, the story behind it is. So yeah, so after that, he took my statement, he disappeared. Half an hour later, they called me up, slapped me on the wrist, 5 years suspended sentence. You may leave. I said to myself, what the hell just happened? The truth will set you free. And I'm not saying that if you tell the truth every time, if you're in jail, that you're going to get out of jail because you told the truth. No. It's going to set you free. going to set you free. That is just a very spiritual example that I just gave now. If you tell the truth, it will set you free. The truth will set you free. You will not be held by spiritual bondage anymore. Chicas and pipis, I wish you all a blessed day, and peace be with you all. God bless and adios.